We needed a big breakfast today, so we went to this place called Bagelry here in Philadelphia. It was just a short walk from our hotel and just something that we just needed to get our eyes open, get some energy for the day so we could tackle all the sites we wanted to see. What really attracted us to check this place out is they advertise that they have wood-fired oven Montreal Style Bagels, and knowing that we love Montreal Style Bagels, we just had to check them out and really see what they were all about. So this is a little bit different than the New York bagel quest that we've been on. So we're on a Montreal bagel quest in Philadelphia. Let me show you the area around the place and show you around inside the place, and then we'll get back here and I'll tell you all about the bagels. This place has, like, you can get breakfast sandwiches and all types of sandwiches on a bagel, but we just figured we wanted to try a good variety of their bagels. You know, being that it's a long day, we figured we would have a little left over for snack later. So what we just did was get a half dozen of their bagels. They were $2 a piece or $10 for the half dozen. And then we just got a little cream cheese and we went to town with that. Inside there, it was kind of simple. They just had their bagels on one side, ordering counter, and then flat top where they make everything. I'm sure everything is done in the back because I didn't see a wood-fired oven there despite actually seeing wood on the side when you walk in. Had to get some drinks. I got cold brew, just black. We need a real big wake up this morning to get out to do what we got to do. So we took the half dozen bagels. We picked sesame, salted egg, chocolate chip, marble rye, cinnamon raisin, and everything. Now, I think each of these had their own merits. Some of them had a few flaws. So we'll talk about them individually, and then I'll give you kind of an overall what I think about the bagels at Bagelry. Sesame bagel reminded me quite a lot of the bagels in Montreal. The one thing I'll say about all the bagels at Spread are that they're a little bit thicker than what you find in Montreal. So I would say almost like a New York / Montreal hybrid. It might be like its own type of Philadelphia thing. I haven't had any other bagels anywhere around here, so that remains to be seen, but maybe this is one of those cases where inspiration got pulled from multiple places and that's what you get. I really love the sesame though, because the wood-fired oven, I think, brought out all that character of sesame that you would get from a Montreal bagel. The outside of the bagel tasted a lot like a Montreal bagel. The inside was a little bit more fluffy, like a fluffy and chewy, kind of like a New York bagel. As far as the salted egg, I almost think that might have been my favorite one. That one reminded me a lot of like a brioche, or like Cassie was saying, kind of like a croissant, because it seemed like the layers in the dough were actually laminated a little bit, and it was quite a lot. It had quite a lot of lift to it. It had a good amount of like kosher salt caked around the outside, almost like it was like put on there and then put on there wet and then evaporated the water like to flash it off. It was very good. I would say that was probably up there with my favorite bagels of this bunch. Chocolate chip was the one where I kind of buckled under the pressure and I really didn't know what to get. And I just said, pick up one of those chocolate chips. We didn't love that one. Something about it, like I think the wood-firedness of these things reminded me a little bit of pizza. So like I even said while I was eating these that it kind of reminds me of like pizza with chocolate chips in it, not in a good way. So I would say the chocolate chip was probably at the bottom as far as this half dozen of bagels. Marble rye, I gotta be honest, is one of those that I wasn't gonna get at the beginning, but it seemed like Cassie really wanted it, so we just threw it in. I really did like that one. The caraway really came through. It was a very flavorful bagel. I think that one really isn't a cream cheese bagel as far as I'm concerned. It's more of like a breakfast or even a lunch. Like if you made a Reuben on that thing, it would be incredible. And I think Cassie enjoyed it in the same regard. I think she liked it a lot more than I did. It's mainly because I'm not too huge on caraway, and this was a little heavy on it, but not in a bad way. It's just not exactly my thing. For cinnamon raisin, we can't remember if in Montreal we had a cinnamon raisin or if they even had a cinnamon raisin there at the places we checked out. I'm sure they did, we're just not remembering it. But for the purpose of this, it reminded us a lot of a New York City cinnamon raisin bagel, where the dough is slightly sweet. You get that cinnamon kind of throughout the entire thing, and then the chewy raisins throughout it as well. Perfect with cream cheese.
Perfect.
I would say this one is kind of middle of the pack. Definitely not the best, definitely not the worst. The last bagel of the bunch was an everything bagel. Now this one was a cool one. Like I said, it was a little springier than a Montreal bagel, but there were seeds caked all around it. In New York, that's not always how an everything bagel comes. Sometimes you just get the top of the bagel with seasonings. But the cool thing about this is, it seemed like the seasonings that were on top were cooked a little bit more than the seasonings that were on the bottom. So like I even made it kind of a joke, but a little bit real, where the bagel reminded me a little bit of like a Dunkin' Donuts bagel, because it had kind of that chewier bottom with the everything seasoning, kind of like Dunkin' Donuts bagels do. For some reason, I remember, I haven't had a Dunkin' Donuts bagel in years, but I remember them to have the seasonings on the bottom. Anyway, the seasonings on the top are where this one really shined through. Very roasted flavor on all the garlic and seeds and onion. It was a very good bagel. I would say though, for my favorites were probably between the salted egg, the sesame, and the everything. I'd probably rank them in that order actually. So those three are a sure bet at Spread Bagelry. As for this coffee, I think it's cold brew on tap, and we just ordered it black. It's very good, and it's really giving me that jolt that I need. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit it with a like. And if this is the first video you're seeing of me, I do a lot of food reviews, share a lot of recipes. Please consider subscribing. And the cool thing about being almost 100 restaurant reviews in is that now I can make playlists of all this stuff. I have a playlist of all my bagel reviews. You can check that out right here. Thanks a lot and have an amazing day.